not uploaded last. Actually, we didn't do a class on Tuesday. Wait, what today? Thursday. All right. Yeah, we didn't do a class on Tuesday, so I didn't record anything. I don't remember if I uploaded the video from the previous Thursday. I'll check, but my apologies if I didn't. I think I did, but anyway. Okay, so sometimes I'm going to review your homework on Tuesdays and sometimes not, because some students want feedback. They've asked me actually in class for feedback. But then sometimes, students are like, yeah, I don't like that homework day on Tuesdays, so I can't win. So I'm gonna just check you guys out quickly today. But in the meantime, let me get Jana just showed up. So where are you, Jana? Morning, Jana. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you.
Great, great. Okay, thank you. Jana, there we go. Okay, present. So no Jacob. See Jacob yet? No Camille. No Camille. Nikki, I didn't see Nikki. Monica, no. Jemiah, I didn't see her. Okay, cool. All right, homework. BizCom, not BizCom. Fashion accessories. Steve, you're the top one, so let's check it out. So this was November 3rd. Oh, wow, crazy.
Okay, so for mine, I had already started on bags because that's what we intentionally were going to work on at first. So I have 2 bags, and then I have the 2 views of the shoes I made.
Yep, inspired by that building. Yep, I see that. Yep, I understand. Cool. Yeah, this makes a natural. Yeah, this is. I remember you doing this. Well, I think, but anyway, it's cool. So, Steve, what is this? Oh, okay. So this is the shoe on top. Or foot or something, and this is the bottom.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you're doing a back view, this needs to be flat. I guess you're trying to put this in perspective.
Yeah, I was trying to put it in perspective.
So when you're doing just a flat view, it would just be all lined up. It would not look like that. I mean, you're not going to do perspective because here you're doing an orthographic, a plain side view. No perspective, and also this view. There should be no perspective. So basically, let's see. Let me annotate. How do I do that? Right up here, annotate. So maybe I should get on Photoshop. But basically, this is your bottom, and your bottom should be right here. You line it up, and then here, your top. So shift it down, but this is. So maybe I should take this into Photoshop. But hey, let's continue and see. Let me just erase all of this stuff. Okay. But nice colors, and I can't tell what's going on in here. It's just like some big sails or something, maybe. Some big sails, big puffy sails or something.
I tried bringing in the effect of overlapping because the building itself has overlapping.
Right. Right. I'll see a picture of it down here. This is looking quite good. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do some Photoshop with this. I mean, this heel is very interesting. And be careful with your backgrounds because you can't really see what's going on. With that dark background, this is all very hidden. The thing is, when I send work with a dark background, generally it's printed out. If it remains digital, then it's not so bad. But when it's printed out, they complain. They're like, "Hey, Brooke, can you not put that background on? Because when we print it out, it's just too dark. You can't see stuff, and it uses a lot of ink and all that stuff. So be careful with dark backgrounds, because it's hard to see some of this stuff. So I guess it's fine since we're all doing digital. We're not printing. Maybe it's totally fine. But then you have to make this white. It looks much nicer when you have a white drawing on a dark background. Like this. This is popping off. So, right, these are those things, and this is that overlapping stuff you're talking about right in here, isn't it? The overlapping stuff that's related to this. So, okay, I understand that. But I'll show you how to draw.
And I just designed 2 of the Burks, and then the one that we were working on in class, I just did more detail in it, fixing it up.
Hey, this is really interesting. This is and it convinced me as well. I thought it was a photo, so that's cool. And then there's no and then this is it, but that's fine. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit. And before I get into some Photoshop, I just want to show some things. Let's just see if I can get even more in there. So take a little more pride in your stuff, and this is all so wonky. You're a designer. Designers don't do that, you know? And then you could put a shadow back there too. Some sort of shadows or something. It's just living in space. Highlights underneath these finger holes. You know what I mean? A highlight going up through here. Not such a gradiented shadow. It would never look like that. So you know, more of a distinct shadow here. Shadow. It would be so. This is a layer deep down. This is a layer on top of that deep down. This is a layer on top of a deep down. And the shadow goes down here because it's about the height of, you have to be able to describe stuff for the manufacturer, for the prototyper. So just, you need to be a little bit more, and there's a shadow underneath here. I don't see how that is connected to that, but you know what I mean? Is this a little finger tab or something that you can just like pick up the bag or something?
I'm sorry, for what part?
This area.
No, so that's the strap going around. So if you look on the white bag itself, it like goes through and then it goes to the back, and that's actually like the closure to make the bag close itself.
Okay.
Like bring it together.
Let's just get this annotation stuff cleared off. Clear all drawings. Okay, let's go back down. Oh, so this is, oh, wait. These are not the same bag though. They are a little bit. They're a little different.
Yeah, I just wanted to create 2 different styles of Birkins.
Okay, so put in annotations as well. You know, so I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this quite a few times with backgrounds and shadows and stuff, and then also annotations. So what is this? Is this copper or is this brass? Some sort of brassy colored leather?
Yeah, it's more like a brassy color.
Okay. And what is the computer thing? Oh, that's hardware.
Oh, that's the hardware
right
of like
right here,
how you just like twist it.
Yeah,
and
okay, I understand. Okay, yep, metal. Okay, okay, let's download this thing. Download desktop. I'm cool with that, and I'll open it in Photoshop. Photoshop is open. Okay, let's go in here. Bridge desktop. So what pages? Let's just definitely open page 1. I wanted to open page 1. I wanted to open and one of these. So I'll write down the grades as well. Okay, just get a piece of paper. Okay, Steve, make a checklist because I'm going to start marking you down because we've been talking about this for a long time. You need annotations. Okay?
Okay.
And I every time I mention it, because this is part of rendering, is I always mention adding reflections and stuff and details, and if there's big empty space, that's a no-no. Okay, so here, let's get this guy. Control X, let's fill that up with that color. Use that tool here, and I'll just fill this up. Okay, and Control V. So line it up. There's the top. And here's the bottom. Put some love into the drawings, you know, so it's all lined up, because it looks bad as far as the guy doesn't care in a way. So, you know, that's kind of important. Okay, so right down here, that's going to be cut off. So let's just fill that up. So that's what it would look like. And then, so I assume that this is a spike. So you can depict this stuff with reflections. Oh, let me just deselect and do the other side, because your light is coming from the left. So let's do that. And B for brush, turn it white. Oh, and you've already got some lines in there. That's cool. So, okay, so that automatically tells that this is a spike, you know, without having the perspective. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all lined up. Okay, so I'm sure I've talked about this on shoes, because this is the way I render them. But when you have a shape, let's use the fast tool. I'm just going to go fast on this. Can't see what's going on. You need reflections on that sole. So let's say that this is going to be white. I'll make a layer. Let's just fill it up with a mid-tone gray. Fill that up. Okay, so I know I mentioned it before, but please listen, or don't forget what I'm saying, please. Okay, so this is the easiest way to make a shoe look 3D. Let's turn this down, because you want to be subtle. Subtlety is also very important. So this automatically makes it look, and then this is an undercut, so it's going to be a little bit darker underneath here, maybe a little bit here as well. So that automatically makes it look a little more 3D just by going around the perimeter. Okay, and now the reflections are where the big toe is. I mean, sorry, this is the outside, the medial side. So this is going to be a reflection there, because that's where your toe sticks out a little bit. Your little toe sticks out, and that's like, you know, it's a kind of a flat part of our flippers. So there's a reflection in there, and then I like to bust one in here as well. But let's take this down a little bit. It's too obnoxious. So something like that, and then I guess we just erase out this. So that's how maybe one up here. Maybe. You don't have to, but it's, you know, a little bonus. Let's turn it down, make it subtle. So there, that makes it look way more interesting than this big black blob. Okay. And it looks more convincing. Okay. Reflections. You need reflections on the upper surfaces. Like here, let's crank it up a little bit. Here, and I'll show you examples. And here, it looks like pillows. Be self-critical. If it looks like pillows, then it's probably not right, unless you really want it to look like pillows. But I know what you're trying to do, and you just have to experiment a lot. So this is how I would have done it. Let's get rid of all of this. I'll do a layer on top, and I'm going to color it in white. And then I'm going to reduce opacity so I can see what's going on. New layer on top. So let's say, let's go on a hard brush because these are hard edges based off the architecture. And I want this 100%. So there. Just think about how light works. These are the fins. So underneath, it's like, it's automatically looking better because now it looks like there's, actually, let's just take this thing off. There, you just about had it. You know, these, so now it does look like it's caving in. You know what I mean? It looks like, let's just reduce, let's take this down a wee bit. We'll keep it up, but I'm going to make it a little bit grayer, not so white. So image, adjust, hue, saturation. Image, edit. No, it's image, adjust. Oh, it's not allowing me to do hue saturation for some reason. Okay, there we go. Deselect, make sure nothing's selected. Image, adjust, hue saturate. Come on, why won't it let me do that? Just gonna rasterize this layer. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna go to Alpha Lock. This is Alpha Lock. Are you using iPad or Photoshop?
I use Procreate.
Procreate. Okay. So they have a thing called, in Photoshop, this is called lock transparent pixels. They have the same thing in Procreate as well. And you click on that, and then it just only colors where the pixels are. So where there are no pixels, it doesn't color. So for example, I could go all big time black on this. I'll turn down the opacity, but it only should color the pixels. So let's just try. So it's getting a little darker, but it's only hitting the pixels. You know, it's not hitting out all outside here. Okay, so there. But it automatically looks like things are diving in, doesn't it? It looks more like the architecture just by putting in these leading edges. Don't you think, or no?
No, I see it.
Yep, okay. And since these are major big leading edges, this needs a strong highlight because the light comes from above and there's major, here, I'm gonna have to turn this brush up.
I think the only reason I didn't do it like that is because it leaves such a harsh line.
You didn't want that. You wanted it the soft look.
Yeah, I kind of wanted it to be like a soft look.
Oh, in that case, I'm wrong.
I think that the hard line makes it look cleaner in a way, but
yeah, well, you know, I could be wrong then in the case that if you wanted it to be that soft pillow look, you rendered it nicely. So I stand corrected then. Let's turn off all of that and see what it looks like. And this. Yeah, the thing is, I just don't understand it. Okay, let's try something else. The thing is, you have to try some things, you know, try a few things to see what works. So maybe it would be a reflection here. Let's turn that down a wee bit. I don't know.
I think it was just really difficult to make it look the way I wanted it to because you also have to take in consideration how the light is actually hitting it.
Yeah.
And with the shoe on top, it's going to block the back ones. So they're not going to get as much as a highlight as the front ones would have gotten.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then maybe you need a bottom view to show what that looks like because it's hard to tell. The heel would go straight. I wouldn't have thought you'd want it kicking back, but if you do want it kicking back, it'd be very uncomfortable. But so there's a highlight in here and a highlight here, I assume. Oops. Let's just put this And when you're doing these highlights, I'm screwing up by doing it too slow. And so sometimes it's nice to just sketch it in there. Just kind of build it up. And that looks way better, I think. Dissolve normal. And then in here, there'd be a reflection as well. There's a reflection going down here. So you'd have that same reflection going in into the shoe there. Into the sole, at least. Let's just put a little reflection in there. Just build it up a little bit. Erase out. Let's get a hard eraser.
Also, with my drawing, I was a little confused why yours looked like that, but it's like making those sharp corners.
Okay, well, let's see if you got any other views. Let's check out your homework. It's the PDF.
Like
Okay.
if you were to zoom in, it wasn't sharp corners on like the shoe itself.
On this one.
Yeah. Like where the shoe is laying.
Okay. So let's zoom in on Photoshop and see. Okay, let me take that white reflection away. So I'm zooming in. Let's take this away because that's hiding something. I can't see anything in there. I don't know. So, you know, imagine giving this to a prototyper. I can't see anything in there. They'd have a hard time really executing your vision. So just try to get in there. Watch a few other videos on how to sketch, apart from me, because I have my style. And, you know, get in there. Okay, cool. So that's one thing I wanted to mention, the orthographics. There is no perspective on orthographics. It's pretty much flat. So, and this looks is way more convincing, I think, by just putting some shading in. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Okay, there. Once again, let's open this guy. Once again, the highlight, just like I did on the shoe back here, with the darkness going around, and then some highlights inside. Wherever I put those highlights, I don't even know. There we go. Same goes with here, because this is just kind of randomly adding black. It doesn't have any purpose, so, or it doesn't look like it does. So you'd be putting in the dark stuff in here. In fact, I'll use black right in here. Let's see if I can shade it in. And it fades out. I could put it in Photoshop as well. And then this part would be lighter. So I don't know why it has a darkness there, because that, if anything, that would be white. You know,
The reason I have darkness there is because the lighting is coming from the back, and when the lighting comes from the back, it would hit the back and the sides of the heel itself would have like a little shadow itself.
Okay, so if the light's coming from over here, so if the light's coming over here, there would be a strong white reflection going down here, and then it would transition to a darker down here. And so the light is really coming from really right here. It's not even above, it's straight over. So the light, I assume it's here. Because I was going to say, if it's a little bit above like this one, then you're going to see a little bit of white reflection on top of this. And if it's directly like right here, if it's right there, this might even be shadow then. So not such a big shadow.
I think that's where I goofed up.
Okay.
Is I didn't add the white highlight to the top part.
Yeah, and then all this would be very dark inside here. You'd have reflections. You'd have reflections here. Oops. Let's see what else. Oh God, let's just erase all that clear. They're all drawings. And so it's definitely not telling me that's where the light source is, because you have to give us a lot more clues about that. So for example, you'd have strong contrast. Big black shadows going here, big black shadows coming here, shadows here, shadows here, shadows here, and big black stuff going here to tell the story of where the light source is.
Yeah, normally I
then,
add the shadows, but I kind of forgot.
Yeah, just try to remember, because that's why I always put a sun somewhere, because I always need a constant reminder. And then otherwise then your drawing looks wacky. So white in here, white in here, which you basically did. Reflections here, and some of these lines, if they're 3D, you'll have a few of those maybe fading out. You'll have reflections here, right here. I don't know. I feel like you need a reflection up here, but not sure. Okay, so just really make sure your light, you have all the clues that show where the light is coming from, because I didn't know. Shadows and all of this stuff. Okay, let's turn this off. Clear drawings. And okay. And then these ones here, reflections. So I don't know where the light is coming from on these, but so reflections, let's just say the light's coming from here. So in here you need some reflections. It just looks very flat without. There we go, reflections here. I don't know how this, oh, it's very sharp. I can tell it's very sharp here. Actually, why don't you just bring this whole thing and line it, and line it, bring it down and line it all up. You're already doing it. You're already doing that drawing. So be efficient, and smart on how you draw. So might as well line it up so you have an orthographic. And then everything will line up. But this is a very harsh line, so this is definitely going to be a hardcore line in here somewhere. For that reflection, in here, and then also a bunch of shadows. So shadow's not going to be, this is a massive shadow, and it would never be like that because your flap is flat. And so right here, the shadows would be very close and tight. And then also under here, and here, around here. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely see what you're saying.
This is harsh. So anyway, you put some feet in there, but hey, that's not a big deal. And if the light is still coming from this way, then same with all of those reflections. Right in here with this strap thing. Here, the handle's very thick, but I guess that's purpose. This is zipper, I guess. So, just all of this, and I don't know what that is. So, just,
it's a detachable shoulder strap.
Exactly.
I should have probably drawn the strap itself, but the strap is white, and that would have just blended into the side of the bag, and it would have just looked weird.
Not necessarily. It depends how you do it, because if there's a strap here, you can do it so it doesn't, so it comes up and then goes behind the bag. As an artist, you could kind of figure that out, and maybe the strap comes out like that. I don't know. So you can put your strap wherever you want it. And then you need call outs. Blah, 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 blah. What's this? Wood. This is leather. This is leather covered in brass something. Who knows what that is? Zipper. So call outs. Just me doing all these squiggles makes it look 10 times better. Just call out that stuff. Be a designer and describe your stuff. You can't assume people know what you're talking about. So basically, I'd make a checklist. Always put in the highlights in the right areas to show where the light is. Always put in the shadows, because otherwise nobody knows what the hell's going on. Annotations everywhere. Be smart about how you do your drawings. Work smarter, not harder, and bring this down. So if you're doing a front view and you're doing a side view, bring it together so they work together. And so everything is a cohesive drawing. Okay. Is that cool?
Yeah, it definitely helped me out. So I'll know what to do for next week.
Yeah, cool. Let's just clear all this. Okay, thanks, Steve. Let's go back now. Where are we? Here we go. Steve. Next one, Steve, is Monica. Anthony, you're here, aren't you? Anthony, yes. Let's check out your stuff from last week. Oh, no homework yet?
Yeah, I don't have anything for this week yet. Sorry about that.
Okay, Anthony, Nikki. Oh, hey, Nikki. We'll just change the attendance roster. 11:05. Nikki, present. Anyone else came in? Laura, Michaela, Steve. Okay. Anthony. Okay, no, Anthony. Next one, Anthony. Jana. Jana's not here. Greg's not here. Cameron. Cameron's here.
Yeah, I still have to get you my homework.
Okay, Anthony. Sorry, Cameron. Cameron. Jemiah, I don't think you're here. No, Jemiah. Nikki. Okay, Nikki. Hey, Nikki. Let's check you out.
I'm also a little behind.
Okay.
I haven't finished my drawings yet, but I'll definitely pull them up by tonight.
Okay, cool. Nikki, Michaela, you're here, aren't you, Michaela? Yes, hey, Michaela.
Mine aren't in yet.
Okay, then. No problem. Well, this makes the homework day easy. Michaela, Camille. No, Camille. Lauren. Let's check you out. I think we're talking week 9, aren't we? No, actually. Is this your latest homework, Lauren?
Yeah, week 9 is, but that one, yeah, you can click on it.
Did I already?
Oh, wait, maybe it's week 8? Week 8.
Let's see, heels.
Those are older.
Yeah, but I love these things. I love all this super creativity and stuff. It's very, very nice and fluent. I saw this. Did I give you a grade for it already?
Yeah, that's older, but I did.
Yeah.
Well, I did have stuff uploaded though.
Let's just have a look, because this is. You know what? I'm thinking I'd like to get into Illustrator with you guys, but especially you, Lauren, because you really have a good handle on this whole thing. And Illustrator is really where you get a very accurate thing. But the thing is, other students, I think, need. I can't jump into Illustrator yet, I don't think. Because Aki is all about getting you guys to sketch well. But this was really. How did you get this pattern, by the way?
That is just a textile that I found.
No kidding. On the internet?
Yeah.
And just pulled it off.
Pulled it off, multiplied it, and then just shaded over it.
Yeah, sweet. Look at your girl.
Yeah. I just wanted to draw people. So. But this isn't from this week, but I'm not sure why it's.
Yeah. Okay, let's just go back then. Okay, in week 9, I don't think it's in there right now, so just slam it in.
Just throw them in there. Okay.
Cool. So what have we been doing? What did we do? We were doing that inspired by architecture stuff. Let's just see what my drawings are, because I need a little refresher. I was planning on doing homework today, but so I didn't correctly plan. Let me go to work. No, CCS. So I think I uploaded drawings. CCS fall, fashion accessories, sketches. Oh, that's right. It was all about the sole. That's what we were doing, because soles are very expensive and very important, and a super important part of the shoe. So that's what the homework was, just really focus on the soles. And the bottom view as well, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned that. So Steve, you need to do a bottom view. We're totally focusing on the soles, and bottom is super important, man. It's a major part of the graphic of a shoe. People always look at the bottom, always. Okay, so that's, yeah.
If we stay on soles, I mean, I can do a bottom view for you.
Goodness. So what are Anthony, were you doing soles, or what were you guys doing for homework? Nikki, Cameron?
I mean, I just didn't finish, that's all. I was doing the soles though.
Yeah, I'm just curious about like where your level at this on soles is, because I don't know what to work on. Okay, I mean, we can just, okay, well, let's just continue working on soles, because soles is what was for homework. So, and if you're still working on it, might as well do some sole stuff. Hey, okay, and just on a little side note, I can get into a demonstration super easy with you guys, so not a problem, but I want to ask your opinion. So there's this, a lot of you have iPads already, but some of you are in the middle of getting an iPad, am I right? Because I see here, if some of you are like on the fence about getting an iPad, or should I get the iPad Air or the Pro or all this stuff, this guy Spencer, he's talking about the new iPad Air 2020, which is way cheaper. It's about half the price of a Pro. And he's just talking about the differences between the Air and the Pro and how they work with drawing. Does that video interest you, or yeah? Yes or no, guys? Because
Can you say that again?
So, are you interested in watching this video? Because this guy, you probably know Spencer, but anyway, he's discussing how the iPad Air compares to normal iPads. If you're in the market for buying an iPad, because the Air is about half the price of a Pro, and so I'm definitely having students from my Viscom from product design, like, oh, I just about bought an iPad, but I just need a little bit more money and la la la. So I wanted to share this video definitely with the product design people. But you guys, I don't know if you've already got the iPads. A lot of you do. And so if you don't, I was going to share this video, or I can just send you a link. I'm just going to send you a link because that will save time.
I don't mind watching.
What about the others?
I got one, but I don't mind watching it.
I kind of want to watch a little bit of it.
All right, let's just check it then. So I'll share this.
We can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry, I gotta turn these off. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's try. I'll try again.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sketch Day, and I've got a surprise for you. Today, this is the new iPad Air by Apple, and I ordered this to test because I wanted to see personally what the differences are between the iPad Air, which looks an awful lot like an iPad Pro. In fact, it's pretty much the same size as an iPad Pro, the 11-inch. So I wanted to take some time to sit with it, draw, do a couple things, and see if there are any differences. I get lots of questions from you about tablets, what to buy. I've used Cintiqs, I've used Surface Pros, I've used Wacom.
Can you hear this, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Products, other tablets, and my iPad Pro is my daily driver. In fact, I've got it right here. So we're just going to make some comparisons and go over a few features. Now, full disclaimer, this is not a technical deep dive. This is from an artist perspective, my point of view as to what you should buy if you, like me, like to save money and get the most bang for your buck. Now, it all depends on how you like to work, what you like to do, and that'll help you decide if this is really for you. So there's a lot to think about. It is subjective entirely. I'm not really going to dig into speeds and feeds and kind of drill down on details like that. There's plenty of videos like that. In fact, I haven't even unboxed it here on the video for you, because what's important, I think, is just the overall experience. The first thing I want to point out is this iPad Air is so much lighter than my iPad Pro. Now, I'm used to kind of carrying my iPad Pro around with the cover. In fact, here it is. This is the 2018 version. This is the 2018 version of the iPad Pro. It's well used, well loved. It's gotten me through many, many projects. It's a beast. The battery life, it works all day. I haven't had any issues with it. Battery life's awesome. I haven't had any issues with it. Runs all day. It's a powerhouse. I've been able to even travel, do my photography, video editing, sketch, illustration work, and communication stuff all on this tablet. Now, this iPad Pro, the 12.9 inch that I'm holding here, actually is the LTE version. And I got that because before the pandemic, before all of this went down, I was traveling a lot and I wanted to be able to work anywhere I was. Okay, so having that flexibility was awesome. This iPad Air, however, I opted to just get this without the LTE. Now, I should mention as well, this is not a paid sponsored video in any way. So these are my thoughts as they come, as I'm using this iPad Pro, quite literally. And I say that because I want you to know that this is not influenced in any way by my purchase. I bought this with my own money and my opinions on my own. Okay, so the first thing I noticed that's different about this iPad Pro, it does have a similar look to the 12.9 inch iPad Pro. It has the border. The Face ID is actually missing. Face ID is Apple's technology that allows you to unlock your device with your phone. So if you're used to having Face ID with your iPad Pro, it's a little bit of an adjustment. They've actually moved the security feature here to the button. And so now we have Touch ID in the power button of the iPad Pro. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. As I've been playing with it, I've had to kind of mentally make that change. For example, same design, 2 power buttons. It also features smart connectors on the back. Let's see if you can see that. There, smart connectors on the back. So if you want to connect an accessory like Apple's keyboard or other keyboard cases, it'll snap right in. Has the magnets and everything. One of my frustrations with the original iPad Pro was the fact that it was hard to keep track of my pencil. I would lose my pencil all the time. In fact, and this is true, I replaced about 5 pencils with the initial iPad Pro. That being said, I had 2 iPads Pro at the time, but needless to say, that was an expensive mistake that was occurring. Ever since I got the Apple Pencil 2 for this new crop of iPads Pro, I haven't lost a single pencil. So that is a major upgrade. If you've been sketching on an iPad Air or other iPad that uses the first generation pencil, which I also have handy here as well, boom, there it is. It only works on previous generation iPads, so you'll want to check. But that being said, this alone saved me $500 on this generation of iPads. Yes, I'm a dummy for losing my pencils. I get it. All right, so this new iPad Air works with the pencil here, and let's go ahead and just unlock. I did program my fingerprint in here. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, maybe it was the other finger. Let's see. I got to use the passcode. I don't want you guys seeing that. All right, so now when I close it and try and turn it on, I should be able to do it with my finger, just like that. So turn off, turn on, and seems to unlock pretty quickly. Now, in terms of screen responsiveness, Apple says that the iPads Pro has ProMotion. That is their software feature, if you will, that speeds up the refresh rate, or how many times the display cycles per second. in terms of updating every pixel you see. Now, at first I thought this would be super important for an artist like myself if you're drawing, but in my light use, I haven't noticed a major difference. It's really hard to tell the difference for me, at least not to a point where I could genuinely say it does look a little bit smoother, but not to the point where I feel personally it would affect how I work. So that's the first thing. You know, you're looking at this iPad Air, starts at $599 US, $599. So far, minus promotion doesn't seem to be a big deal for me personally. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on how you work, and if you notice that. The Touch ID, I will say, is a little bit weird. Takes a little getting used to, especially if you're used to unlocking your phone with your face or your other Apple devices. Now, I'm not using a screen protector on this iPad Air. Oh, I do keep turning it off. This button is a little touchy. I'm not using a screen protector here. So even as I create a new document, say in Procreate here, I'm not used to the feel of the tip on the screen actually. So let's just create a new document based on the screen size. It does seem pretty snappy, and that makes sense because this iPad Air actually has a better processor than my $1,400 setup here, iPad Pro. Granted, my iPad Pro is about 2 years old, so that's fine. I'm actually waiting for the next generation whenever that comes out for my own upgrade. So I'm okay with that. But with the processor bump, the RAM bump, this should actually perform at par or beyond what my current iPad Pro can do. And that's interesting. That's really interesting, especially given the small size of this iPad Pro. Now let's just check out drawing for a bit here. So I just made a discovery with this new iPad Pro, perhaps something even important you might want to pay attention to here. So like I said, the iPad Air has a better processor than the iPad Pro. However, I just tried airdropping from my iPad Pro to my iPad Air, and this is the message I'm seeing. Cannot import artwork. The artwork exceeds this device's capabilities. A more powerful device is required to import this file. So I'm not sure what that means. I'll have to spend a little bit more time, but just a little call out for you if you're going from the older iPad Pro, and I suspect it has to do with the RAM and if the file has tons of layers. I was trying to send some pretty intense files over from my iPad Pro. So just something to watch out for if you are considering downgrading perhaps from your iPad Pro and moving to the iPad Air. This is an error I ran into a few times. And I was only able to import actually one file. So let's see how it handles. It's a pretty simple file. We only have a few layers here in the file, but again, like I said, the display at least is very smooth. In terms of layers, I wonder how many I can create. This file happens to be, oops, wrong pencil. This file happens to be, let's see, canvas information. It is about 20 inches by 15 inches at 132 dpi. So I can get a maximum of 31 layers with that file. So I'm going to try and make a comparison here on my iPad Pro with that same file. And I'm using Procreate for reference. That's an app that's popular with many creators like myself, designers, and others. So common app here. I'm going to go to Canvas, Canvas information, see layers. So I can get 91 layers in the same file from my iPad Pro as I could on this iPad Air. And like I said, I suspect it has to do with the actual RAM. Now, Apple doesn't typically reveal how much RAM is in each device. I think that's because they want you to just jump in and enjoy the experience. But for someone creating like myself, just be aware that if you have tons of layers or huge files that you did create on your iPad Pro, you may have issues importing them into your iPad Air. So if I were to make a comparison as an artist, Art Studio Lite. Okay, Art Studio Lite. And the reason for that, again, is how robust and large the file I can work on. Some of that's going to be limited by, like I said, the RAM storage. and so forth. But the processor in this thing is insane. It is Apple's best processor right now. So quite an interesting combination, if you ask me, as a creative. So as far as storage goes on this iPad Air, again, since I was buying it for myself just to test for you guys, I went with the smallest storage. And I partly wanted to answer the question for myself, do I even need as much storage as I have on my iPad Pro? I even forgot how much storage I have on my Pro, so I'm just gonna check here real quick. All right, so this iPad Pro has 256 gigabytes. So immediately, I wouldn't even be able to port what's on this iPad Pro to my existing. However, I'm not using the full 256 on my Pro. I don't do, I said at the beginning I do video editing. I said at the beginning that sometimes I do video editing on my iPad Pro, but at the same time I use external storage where possible and offload data. So if you're scrupulous about managing, in particular about managing your storage, you'll be just fine. I think on the iPad Pro, maybe this is controversial, but 64 is probably okay if you think of this as, hey, this is my sketchbook or my Art Studio Lite, and this is my full studio. Okay? If you wanted to double fist and have two devices with you at all times, cool. Think of this as more like a notepad or sketchpad. So just wanted to call that out, that this thing has some limits when it comes to Procreate. All right, but the screen feels great in terms of the resistance to the tip of the pencil. I think Apple's made some improvements along the way. I still personally prefer a matte screen protector. I'll put a link in the video description below if you're curious about matte screen protectors. You can check out. Simple answer is I just get the cheapest one I can find, as I found that paper-like screen protectors in particular can wear down the tip of your stylus. So that being said, let's take a look at just some of the drawing speed here, see how this goes. All right, I'm going to be using some of my brushes that I created right there, the Sketchaday Mega Pack. So this is the stencil. So it may be hard for you to see in terms of comparison here, but the responsiveness feels pretty great. Okay, I will just say that in general. So if I were to sketch something like a quick automobile here, just keep it nice and loose, it feels pretty great. So again, just as a scribble pad, okay, you can always adjust settings in whatever drawing app you have. I'm going to transform this a little bit since I went a little big with my sketch, but you can play with those settings and get whatever pressure sensitivity you like. But I will say, as a scribble pad, again, think of it as your Art Studio Lite or your sketch pad, and I think that's a good way to think of it, given the limitations. And again, I suspect it has to do with the RAM. But if you're not like me and you're going to be doing light sketching or maybe drawings that don't have as many layers, okay, then getting the iPad Air seems like a really good deal, especially if you're a student, you're trying to save money. One thing I do try to do with Apple devices in particular is I will actually try and
2020 was different, to say the least. We had virtual dance parties and ordered takeout fees. But before we give 2020 last looks, hold on to those memories with photo books. Find the good and let it fly at shutterfly.com.
I will try and purchase refurbs where possible, and that's because when you purchase a refurbished device, they're actually they're actually refreshing the whole thing so that it's basically brand new. And that's really handy, I think. So you can save a lot of money if you just buy a refurbished device. Sometimes the device was used once or twice, like someone like myself, rather, and just sent back to Apple. So that is one way you can save some money. Maybe one of you guys will snag this very iPad, for example. The screen size difference. So far, I'm not picking up a major issue. I do personally like the bigger screen, so I'll stick with the bigger screen, but This feels really nice and light. I mean, even when it was in the box, this whole setup felt lighter than my iPad Pro alone without the box, let alone everything else in the box. And that's including the power adapter that's included in the box and cable. Okay. So it is pretty light, pretty thin. I didn't notice as well, I was trying to sight down the iPad. I didn't notice any major bending issues. My iPad Pro, it's the 2018 version, and there have been bending issues with those iPads in particular. So that is just something you may want to watch out for, maybe pay attention to. But in my light use of this iPad Air, I haven't noticed that issue. You may notice as well, I keep calling it the iPad Pro, and I think that's because the design is so similar. I checked the thickness of the device, and they're pretty much the same. I use my calipers that I have here and measured, and they're within 0.1 millimeter of thickness, 0.1 to 0.2. There's likely some variance there, but just to give you an idea that they are roughly the same thickness, dimension, and appearance. So really cool. It does include stereo speakers if that's something you're interested in. I think this would make a really great Netflix device, actually, that you could create on. For what I call serious work as a visual communicator, the color gamut's impressive. It's using the P3 color space. You've got millions and millions and millions of colors. They show up bright, saturated, vibrant, all of that. You'll definitely want to make sure that you're used to either working in different color spaces. For example, if you're moving to Adobe RGB or some other color space, things are going to appear different. If you have another display that is P3 compatible, then you won't run into those issues in terms of saturation and so forth. I should mention that both displays do have the P3 gamut. I double checked on that. They're the same DPI, so how fine things show up on screen is the same display to display. The iPad Pro display, at least the one I'm using, is 100 nits brighter. It just means that the colors show up much brighter. It does have a true tone display and HDR as well. So if you're looking for those deep blacks, you're going to get that, and those whiter whites. It's not an OLED display, however, it is an LCD display. I personally haven't noticed any issues or problems. I also use an iPhone 11, so I'm used to the look of an LCD. If you're really picky about displays, might be a good idea to wait and see what Apple has next, if they're going to do a micro LED display or perhaps an OLED display. If you want to get into that, definitely go Google it. Like I said, I don't want to get into the weeds of being super technical for this review. All right, as for other things you might want to be aware of, they both come with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. The new iPad Air does have Wi-Fi 6, so if you have gigabit Wi-Fi for some reason and you've upgraded your home, you're all set. If not, you're gonna have to settle for less than a gigabit. It's all fast. A few milliseconds or seconds here is not really gonna matter, at least to me. The iPad Air does have stereo instead of quad speakers. The iPad Pro does have quad speakers, so you may notice some difference in terms of sound performance, but when I'm drawing, that's not a big deal. Like I said, the upgrade to this magnetically attached fixed pencil alone, for me, is worth it because I lost 5 or 6 of those first generation pencils, even had to get this weird accessory thing to slide on so it wouldn't get completely lost in my bag or somewhere else, right? So super handy to have the second generation pencil that snaps on to the iPad. In addition to snapping onto the iPad, it will charge the pencil through induction on this flat side of the iPad. Check that out, just like that. Okay, so super handy and convenient to have everything totally lined up. So like I said, there are some what I would consider to be key differences here. The one that's probably the most concerning is the limits on layers, and I suspect that would trickle into other performance issues with your drawing apps that you use. So something to be aware of. If you're a light user, I think this is the one to go for. If you're like me and you just use your tablet day in, day out, I would highly recommend upgrading to the Pro. I don't know a lot of people with iPads Pro at the 1 terabyte storage capacity. fact, I don't know anyone. If you do, drop a comment. I'd be curious to know what they're doing with their iPad Pro. All right, so that's my very non-technical artist review. I think it feels great in the hand. It does have consistent, similar battery life to your iPad Pro, so you can expect all-day performance. I'm really tempted to get one, not because I see it as a replacement for my iPad Pro, but if I were traveling again, this would be the thing to get. It's small, it's light, it's compact, and it can do a lot of things. It just can't do everything.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. Kind of. A little bit repetitive, but I thought that was pretty good. So now we just had an iPad video. We're working on soles. And so I want to do a demo on developing a sole. And I'll do it on the iPad because all iPad mode now. If that's cool with you. You can work along with me. Just a quick little thing about that video. Who in this class was thinking about buying an iPad? Because a lot of you already have it. Steve, you have one. Anthony, you have one. Nikki, are you iPad? You are, I remember, yeah. Cameron, are you doing iPad stuff?
Yeah, I have an iPad.
Did anyone get that? Oh, yeah. Lauren, I don't remember if you're doing iPad stuff.
I am gonna get one, yeah.
Your mom.
But I don't have one now. Wait, say that again?
Yeah, because you use your mom sometimes.
Yep, I use my mom's.
All right. So since you're all basically iPadded up, if you don't mind, we're going to work on soles because that's what the homework was, soles. And
then a question on that, Brook. Can I actually try to do a new theme?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I just want to change it up for this week's homework.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. But really stick with the soles and let's really try to get in there deep and try to. So we don't have a lot of time. 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. We've got a couple of hours. So I'm gonna share my iPad. Just plug this in. Now I forgot what. Let me share my screen. I forgot if I was working on my desktop. Share, and I'm looking at my. Let me just look at what I did last week. So it looks like I was using iPad. I was using pen and iPad, looks like, or that was Photoshop. I don't know. I probably scanned it and did Photoshop. So my theme was some vehicle type sole. So very predictable for me. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to take it into my iPad. I'm gonna airdrop it. So this is the actual drawing. I don't think I'll take this one. I might take that one actually. And I'm gonna airdrop this. So where do I go? Airdrop. And go airdrop. Let's just see if I can put this in. Okay. And let's see if I can share my iPad on my desktop. I think I can with QuickTime. Don't need that, but I can access new movie recording. And if I go into here, it should see my iPad. Put camera, no, not camera. I want screen recording. So let's just see what happens here. Okay, there, we have it. Okay, there's a little lag, but not so bad. I'm gonna upload it into Procreate. It's gonna be interesting to see if this handles it. Because I did it on Photoshop and now I'm putting it into Procreate. So look at that, color's completely changed. Let's change that background color to something a little bit less dark. Something a little bit gray is cool. Okay, that's cool. And okay. So let me choose my favorite sketches. Not that I really like a lot of these, if any of them, but let's see. I definitely am liking this. That's hair. I'm definitely liking these spikes on the end. So that could be interesting. I don't know if it'd be a nightmare to walk with, but I think I'm just going to play it simple, and I'm just going to go with this one here. So I'm going to flatten all my sketches on this. I'm just going to pinch these two things. And so now it's all one layer. And let me put this down so you can see how I'm actually sketching. There we go. So I've got it all flattened, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy my favorite one, which I think is this one. So I'm just going to put a little rectangle, freehand rectangle. I'm just going to copy this. I mean, I really wasn't that happy with my sketches, but anyway, it's highlighted. You can tell with that gray crosshatch behind. Three finger pull down, copy, and then I'm going to go to a new drawing. I go up here to new drawing, and I always just go by this default screen size. So I'm going to go there. Here we go. Three finger pull down and paste. So it's really convenient to be able to, you know, pull drawings off as easy as this, and just, so I'll put this up here. Okay, just because I want to get accurate, and I suggest you guys getting accurate as well. I'm gonna go find me some soles that would be suitable. So I'm gonna go into Google and find what kind of sole is this gonna be? I'll just go with let me think which sole would be suitable. A cup sole. I think a cup sole would be the best. So I'm gonna say Air Force One sole. I think I should say Nike in there, otherwise they're gonna think it's Air Force One or Nike. There we go. And images. So this is the sole. This is all I need. I'll take that. I'm good with that. And download image. But you know what? I think I'm gonna share this image because I don't understand how the file system works on iPad. Honestly, I can't figure that out, and I need to do more work on that. But so instead of downloading it, because who knows where it downloads to? Normally to my images, but not necessarily. I'm gonna share it onto Procreate. Oh, but it's not allowing me to do Procreate. Okay, so in that case, what I'm going to do, let's just try to share. Let's see if that will work. Nope, doesn't. Okay, I'm going to screen shoot this. And I think to screen shoot it, you just press the volume button and the power button. Yep, there it goes. And let's take this and share it into Procreate. Okay, so it should be in Procreate. Wow, look at this nice little stuff. I don't even know about all this. Okay, a little bit, but not much. Anyway, going into Procreate, importing. Let's find that sole. There we go. I'm gonna choose the rectangle to cut this thing out. Notice that shadow they have in there as well, by the way. Anyway, rectangle. Copy all that. Copy, and then back to my gallery. Find my sole page. And paste. Paste, 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 right here. So there's my bottom. And as I was saying, do both of the views at the same time. You're going to need to do a bottom view for sure. This is definitely for homework. A nice bottom view and also a side view, so they line up side by side. And just for time reasons, normally I would do an outside of the shoe and then inside of the shoe for both sides, because it's a little asymmetrical. Soles are a little bit asymmetrical, but in this case, I'm just going to go with this view, new layer. I'm going to go light, like I'm going to go kind of light gray to just start sketching. And I have a new layer, so I'm gonna start off with a baseline. Oh, find a decent brush. Test it, that works. So this is just gonna be a sketch. Hold my thing here so it stays straight. Eyeballing it to make sure it's nice and even with the paper because you know you don't want weird angles everywhere. Okay. So back to this drawing. I'm back to this drawing right here. I'm gonna make it the same direction so I can understand how things are working. Okay. And then I'm just building up some construction lines here. So this is what this layer is going to be, just pure construction lines. Line up the toe and the heel. There we go. Make this a little bit longer because, there we go. And now I start with sketching. So I've got everything lined up basically. New layer, I'm going to start sketching. So by the way, right here, this definitely touches the ground. So if I were to line that up right in here, let me just show you, that definitely touches the ground. So this line is correct because it touches the ground. And then as it gets into the shank, it starts to kick up a little bit and then back into the heel. And it kicks up a little bit in the back. So just a loose sketch for now. And so I've got these spikes. So what I'm going to do with this, actually, I'm going to line this up. I'm going to take this sketch and line this up also. So I'm going to, yep. So I'm going to line it up so it lines up with my heel and my toe. So everything is lining up. I have to adjust my canvas size because I've run out of room. So I'm going to go up here, canvas, canvas, and crop and resize. I need to be a little bit higher. Notice how my layers, as I make the canvas smaller, my layers increase. This is something that Spencer was talking about regarding the air. So it looks like, you know, air doesn't, you can't have enough. Sometimes you do run out of layers, and looks like the air is a little bit weaker for that stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna put this in here just so uniform snapping. Okay. So I'm just using that as a reference so I can put in my spikes, because like here I have a spike. So let's just put that in. Let's see what this would look like. So just do a little, this is just very loose right now. Let me just firstly get the silhouette of this shoe. So this is, I'm trying to keep it that car theme. So, you know, the back is humped up. Okay, something like that. And then so here's where my spike, right here, the spike kind of lines up. So let's put this up, maybe some support mechanism. And right here, I've got something else, some details. So maybe some sort of something in there. I've got a spike right here. So it's going to kick right here. And the back, maybe I want it to be a ducktail. So something like that. So doing a top view sometimes is fun to get some creative new silhouettes. So this is my, and a lot of you don't put a lot of detail in your midsole. This is all a midsole, by the way. And it's important to have details in there because you have to have details. If you've got white space, that's a warning sign. So I'm going to start putting in these details. I don't know, just some simple styling lines. And this is going to stick out a little bit. Oh, well, you wouldn't see it so much, so I'm going to leave that. Just put in some of those lines. Okay. And so that's my midsole. Let's get into the outsole. So outsole is going to be down here. Just sketch that in. And so I think I just put in some suggestions of, I don't know what yet. Okay, so this is my outsole. Okay, and I'll put in some details within that outsole because it also has details in it. Okay, there's that. This is, by the way, this is a weird, normally heels don't do this because it's a weird ergonomic thing, but in this case, I'm gonna do it. And so I think I'm gonna do something with the front. So it has a little kicker in here, just some little new kind of details. So, and erase out a few pieces like there. So it really has this kind of car vibe, which is what I'm trying to go for. Silhouette. See how it compares to my sketch. Well, don't really need much for my sketch. So there we go, there's the sole. Now I'm gonna start sketching in on the bottom part. So let's just see, and I'm just winging this, by the way. I've got no thought. Let's turn this thing down. Let's lock it because I don't want to keep, messing it up, hitting that accidentally. So where's the lock? Alpha lock, not alpha lock. Oh wait, it's here. I think it's slow. Swipe, lock. There we go. So now I'm going to start putting in my sole. Oop, I locked that layer. So new layer. We're doing the bottom. And just start putting in this. Maybe I want it to be a little bit of a flat nose, just to keep with that kind of car vibe. And then just get that sole so it's accurate. Okay. The reason why I go gray instead of black is because it's just a little more forgiving. It's not as harsh as black and white, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of opens up the creative juices a little bit because it's not so hard. It's not so black and white and in your face. In fact, having said that, I'm going to change the background color to a little bit of a gray color. So once again, it's just, I'll easily be able to highlight and stuff. Okay, there we go. Now, this is the interesting part because this is the bottom and I have this spike thing. And I'm going to put that in, lining up all of your curvatures. Like here, I have a curve from here to here. And so I'm lining that up and then going across down. And so that's one part of the sole. And you know what? I might even just copy and paste that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to readjust the canvas because I need extra room. I need extra room down here. So I'm going to just adjust that canvas, copy and resize, give me a little bit more underneath. There we go. And I'm going to copy this thing. So done. Layers, that's the bottom. I'm just going to copy this part here. Oh, just going to, oh, not that. I need the freehand. I'm going to grab all of this and copy. So copy and then swipe down with 3 fingers and paste. So now I've got it on top and I'm just going to flip it down this way. Oh, not that way. I'm going to flip it this way. Put it down here. So now I've got a matching forefoot. So there's that. And now let's work on the heel. So I'm going to make a new sketch, new layer. I've got this stuff right in here. So this is going to be a little bit wider. I don't know exactly yet what. Lining up where that corner attaches with that corner. So something like this. And this corner is going to kick back. And I think I've got I do have little kickers. I have little kickers right in here. So I'm going to put those in. Something like this. Okay, that's one side. And I'm just going to duplicate that layer. Oh, I'm going to use this tool. Copy. So pull down. I won't copy and I'll paste it and then paste. And I'm gonna flip it this way, bring it down. Oh shoot, I messed up. Let's try this one more time. That's what I want, this, so I'm gonna copy this again. Copy, paste, and flip it this way. Bring it down. Hold on, it did a little external rotation. Okay, try one more time. Beautiful. I'll put it down here. I'm running out of space again, but it should be fine. But as I say, I am running out of space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be efficient with my layers, and I'm going to move this original sketch down a little bit. And I'm going to trim off some of my extra canvas so I can get as many layers as I want. As many as I can anyway. So let's properly size this. Come on. There we go. And then bring this down. There we go. Because I need some extra space down there. Done. Okay, so far so good. I'm gonna get rid of this Nike sole because I don't want to be influenced from it. So there we go, there's my pure virgin sole, and I haven't done anything in there yet. So now what am I gonna do? I'm going to make a new layer and start putting something in there. So this has got a car theme, so I'm thinking something, let's just see. Maybe something like this, I don't know. Don't know yet. And lining things up. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow the theme of my side view. Because I've got this archway, it goes all the way through. So I'm gonna duplicate that tape type of look here. You know, so there, erase this out, I don't need that. So that's part of my underpiece, my outsole, and also I'm gonna do the same thing as I've done here. I'm gonna copy that same type of graphic. So something like this. I think it would look cool if it just joined in with that. And the same down here. Line stuff up. And if this goes back here, and then so there we go. So now my outsole, it's going to be all black. So I'm just going to, it's all going to be black. So I think I want it to go stick out a little bit. So I think I'm going to start coloring in now. Let's just try this. This is all going to be black. And join it, and the outsole is going to come out a little bit. And then down here. So that's that one. And then also I've outsole here, right in here, right in here. That's my outsole. So I'm going to also do something like this is all going to be black outsole. I think I'm starting to color this in just to get some color blocks, because color blocks are very important to see, you know, just to get that cool graphic. I hope it's cool, but we'll see. So my brush is on full blast right down here. It's full blast and make it big. And so I'm just going to start putting this in. And then also, hold on, you know, I just thought of something. I'm just going to pick it in. So this side, it just has more, you know, just more, more speed and more dynamic. And then back here, I guess it's going to go all the way back here. So if I could join these two. Okay, this is going to be a black color block. Let's just fill it in with, oops. There's obviously a pixel or two somehow where I can't There we go. Let's just, now it should work. Oh, here we go. That's where my mistake was, right in there. Okay. And just fix my little mistakes here. It's fine though. This is only a loose sketch. So that's one side, and I'm going to duplicate this. Oh shit! I put it on the wrong layer, and I cannot have that. So hey, by the way, if you hold your 2 fingers and you're undoing, you hold it, it just automatically just gets all that stuff. You know, just automatically. I have to make a new layer. So let's do this, new layer, and I'll have to try this again. And I hope I'll be able to fill this up. Yep, okay, great. So that's one part of the color block. No, so, you know, it's funny how you're doing, when you're doing this, you're thinking about multiple things, trying to figure out how the whole damn thing's going to work. So I realized I probably should do that and then make my outsole in this view. Let's get my side view. There's a side view right here. Go back to my other brush. I'm going to make this outsole go all the way. Why is that? Let's go a little darker. A little bit lighter. Not that light, come on. Okay. So that adds a little bit of dynamic. So that's my new outsole that I just fixed. And I'm gonna fill that in all with black. So I'm gonna make a new layer. So I'm working both drawings at the same time, which is the smartest way to do all your work. It takes a little extra time, but it's definitely worth spending that extra time. Let's go to, oh shoot, I'm on another wrong layer. Okay, before I make any more mistakes, I'm gonna cut this apart because I was forgetting about the layers. So right in here. Right in here. Oop, I'm gonna cut this out. Cut and paste. Okay, now I'm just going to go with black and just fill all this in. And then it kicks up here. And I should have had that outsole going all the way there. Okay, so now this is my outsole. And I'll fill that up. I hope it fills. Yep, there. And here. Okay. Side view, front view. No, side view and bottom view. I'm going to go back to this black one right here and duplicate it and then flip it. Let's flip it horizontally. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's a little modification, but I'm cool with that. A little bit of rotation, because as we know, soles are not. Rotate. So it lines up to my sketch. Okay. Well, I must say, I don't know if these color blocks are very attractive. I don't think they are, but they're definitely different. So got my outsoles done, and all the rest of this is going to be EVA. So I'm going to start a new layer underneath, and I'm going to go with a kind of a light gray, and I'm just going to fill this all up. Can't see what color that is, but you know, I'm going to go with a darker color because I can always change the color after. So I'm just going to fill this whole thing up. Just give it a nice. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. So for now, I'm just going to do this. Just create that strong outline. Hopefully underneath it can be cool. And I hope I can fill it all up. There we go, yes. Just do that. Okay, there's that. That's the EVA, the midsole. And here I'm going to do this one too. And I can't see what I'm doing, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to fill this up. As I was saying, Illustrator really is the Don Daddy. We're sketching right now, and so this is fine. But Illustrator, if you want to get really hard on the outsoles, Illustrator, there's no comparison. It's very amazing, but it's quite a complex operation. So, okay. Now I've got my two EVAs. I'm going to reduce the color of this a little bit. I'm going to just change the color. Like, I might even join these two together. There's my bottom, and here's my side view. So I'm going to bring them together, merge down. Oh, merge down. Okay, so now I've got them both on the same level. All right. Let's see, what else do we want to do? I'm going to have to start putting in some tread patterns and stuff like that. So I'm just going to sketch it in. I'm going to go to a new layer, choose a little bit of a wider color and a brush. I'm good with that brush. Take the size down. So I'm going to get in there and start sketching in, you know, rounding off some of these corners and just start fleshing it in a little bit. Here we go. I don't want sharp corners. So I just learned from doing all of that that I need to reduce, this black is just too harsh. We merge this down and change the color of this, which we do up here through hue saturation. You see me using this all the time and also on Photoshop. So I just want to make it lighter so I can see my lines. And also I'm going to adjust my sketches a little bit and reduce the opacity of these lines because otherwise it's too, I can't see anything because there's too many lines. But let me undo that. And let's just merge a couple of these layers together. So this I'm gonna merge down because now I have the whole thing, the whole sketch. Now I'm gonna take that down just to start hiding those. And what's this? What's this? Well, I'm gonna reduce the opacity of this as well. And I think I'm just gonna merge all of this together, all this sketchy stuff. Yep, I'm gonna merge it all together. Pinch it. I'm gonna make sure this, I'm gonna crank everything up full blast. Because then when I merge it, they'll all be the same. So pinch all these together. And then I'm just going to turn it down so I can get in there and really start. And then also the sole, the outsole. There's this outsole here, and there's this one here, right here. So what I'm going to do is I want them to be the same color as well. So I'm going to go back to this, hue saturation, right up here. Crank it up to full black. And just join these two. So there, merge down. So now I've got my outsoles together. And now I'm going to just change that color because black is a little too harsh for me. So layer and brightness, increase it just a little bit, not much. There we go. Okay. So what's all this white? Okay. There we go. I'm going to get rid of all of this line work in here. Choose brush, and then I'm going to choose the, with this tool that I'm clicking right here, come on, right here. By the way, you find it right in, you find it, this little thing here, this is the color picker. So there, I select that, and now I'm just going to fill all this in, because there was a mistake. I made a mistake in there. I sketched on white. So just get rid of all that. So I have a nice pure blank canvas for the outsole. Okay. And erase out some other stuff. Okay, no, I'm good. All right. Let's start putting in some treads on this guy. So what do I have? Let's just move this up here. Okay, I don't really need that. So I'm gonna turn it really far down. If anything, I might even turn it off because it's just gonna distract me. All right. Just thinking. Okay, just follow on with my theme. I think I'm gonna cut some of this outsole out, and I'm gonna cut out some middle pieces in here, and I'll tell you why. Because I need some graphics in there, and I'm trying to be logical about how I do graphics. You know, if there's meaning behind it, and you know, all that kind of stuff, and does it tell the story? So you know, think about all that, and just not doing some random lines, you know, some random like herringbone or whatever. So come on, give it to me. I'm gonna put in something. Oop, I don't want it that harsh. Let's just try something. Because I have an idea about something in the middle here, and I'm going to draw it in now. I'm going to put in, oh, okay, let's do it. There, I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm just going to put a series of 6 of these circles in there. This is meant to be symbolic of the cylinders. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 cylinders, and then one more. Okay, merge. I'll try to straighten them up a little bit because they're not great, but let's just try to straighten them up. And how am I going to do that? Make a new layer, going to go white. So, you know, being careful about this stuff, you know, trying to get your stuff straight and all that kind of stuff. It's important because people, designers, read your drawings like if you care or if you don't care. And they can tell people you don't care, and then you get the crappy jobs. And so it looks pretty straight, so I'm good with that. So let's just get rid of that white line. Don't need it because everything seemed to be straight, and just merge down. And here's a quicker way to merge these things. And here, oops, just swiping right on each one of those, and then group. Let's just see, did I get them all? Oh, I got some more down here. What is? Oh, I'm missing one. Where's that one? There, okay. Put this into the group. And just for easiness, I'm going to merge this group. So grab it, flatten, flatten that. So there's all my cylinder stuff, and let's just move it around and see what would look cool. I think it looks cool even just moving it a little forward like that. So cool. Okay. Okay, next, I'm going to start getting into some other graphics. And now I'm starting to have some fun. let's go into gray and start sketching it with a pen. Go there, but I don't want the pencil. I want the studio pen. So I'm doing stuff like, and I'll turn the opacity down on this. I hope I'm on a new layer because I'm just sketching freely now, and I will want to delete stuff. So I'm just adding some details, and there, and let's make sure that's all kind of even there. So there's meaning behind all of this because it's subtle, but this is the cylinders in a motor. These are the exhaust pipes that come out of that motor. So just kind of thinking about things in a practical way, but still. And just to continue this, there's no meaning behind this. There was some, I started off having some meaning, but ultimately I decided, you know what, I think this is going to be, all right, so I'm going to modify, I'm going to go right in here, I'm going to make that black as well. So I'm going to sketch it out from the bottom first, and I'm going to do, let's just sketch this in. I think I'm going to, and there. So that's going to be a new part of my midsole, I mean outsole, excuse me. And I'm going to go on that side view right here, make a new layer on top, and I'm just going to put it in here. And fill it up. There we go. So that's what this is going to be. So where's that original sketch? Right. Where is it? Right here. Take that away, and I'm going to use this black, not this dark gray, new layer, and I want it to go into here. So this is going to be and then just fill it in. I know you can't see underneath my sketch, so there we go. So there, and what else? I'm going to put in some more details. I'm going to go back to sketching, and I'm going to choose a light brush, sketching here. So I think I'm going to do something like, just turn down the opacity because I like to sketch with the low opacity. There, so the center goes through here. Trying to line stuff up, like putting in your center lines so everything kind of matches up. And I want it to break here, and I want it to go back here. And I want something that's going in here. So I think I'm going to do a shape like this. So keeping the form language with these kind of diagonal things. I'm going to cut it right here. Erase out all this other stuff. So what's that going to be? It's just going to, I don't know yet exactly what that's going to be, but it's going to be something. And let's see, where is the outsole? Just put this on the very top. I think I want to modify this a little bit. I don't like those Okay, let's just switch on. New layer. You know, my boss, I start to get, this is where I start to get paranoid. My boss might look at this and be like, Brooke, that's a weird outsole. So that's when I start questioning, I'm like, is this really going to be a weird outsole? Because whenever I'm working, I get paranoid a little, and it's a healthy paranoia, because I'm thinking, is the boss going to like this? Because that's important. And I'm self-critical. I'm like, this is definitely a weird outsole. I've never seen anything like it. So I can justify it. I can say, yep, this is definitely a weird outsole. But on the other hand, just because it's weird and never been done before doesn't mean it's good. So, you know, I just got to weigh it up. I mean, just because it's different, unless he says we just want something wacky and different, then maybe I'm onto a winner here. But otherwise, I might not be. That's kind of a funny little ass over here. Let's just try it. Just see what this funny little thing is. And just a predictable thing. I think I just do predictable. I mean, how I'm going here. At least it lines up with this line, this line. So this, can't really see. So, you know, I'm working that line with these other lines, inner line, and then this one's going to be coming out this way. It's a little bit messed up, but okay. All right, and now some details inside here. So let's see, what are we going to do here? You know, working with the lines, like joining this guy up here with this, you know, so it's all like consistent. Just trying to have some consistency, but I know fashion is a little different, but not really. I mean, when we're talking Prada, then definitely they follow this rule. But other weird brands like, I don't know, who's a weird brand? Some of them don't follow this rule, but the clean brands like Prada definitely do. There. There. Okay, it's going to be some major footbed action where the foot's definitely going to be. Let's try doing something similar over here. So does anyone have any questions as far as iPad stuff or anything right now? Okay. So this is the level of intensity I want you guys to get into as well. You know, just filling it out, making it look cool. This is definitely part of the homework. Just line that up. What I'm trying to see you guys do is work your way through the problem, the whole thing. And that's also kind of what I'm trying to instill with you with our drawing lessons, just to see, because sketching is not just about creating a hot sketch. So that's the main purpose. also showing your thoughts, and that's super important to show your thoughts, and that's like 50% of the game. Absolutely. You can be a little bit of a crappy sketcher and to have some really great thought patterns, and you will get jobs coming out to kazoo, because yes, good sketches are definitely a big bonus, but on the other hand, they want somebody who can really think. And so you being able to express that is very important. I'd say even more important than anything else, actually. More important than your GPA grade, more important than your hot sketches. And in fact, a hot sketch is showing that you can actually think, and you can show your thought processes through sketching. So that's what actually makes a hot sketch, is being able to express yourself. And you get paid way better, you get a lot better job, and you move up in the company faster because they want to see that thinking process. All right, so coming together, I'm starting to flesh this thing out, and I don't know what to do in here, and in here, and in here, and in here yet. So, but something's got to be consistent. Okay, I'm just going to be cheeky. I'm going to try something. I'm just going to try this, and it might not work at all. It might be completely messed up. Half a circle. It's kind of got a cool graphic, I guess. Let's try it again here. You know what, I'm just going to get them duplicate. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm just going to copy and paste this thing, because I want it to be duplicate. So, okay. Come on. Copy, paste. Okay, now it's there. I'm going to flip it. There we go. I'm bringing it straight down. So at least I have some consistency, you know. So there's that. It's starting to look like an architectural drawing, which I'm not mad about at all. I think it's kind of cool. I think I want to do the same over here as well. So, you know what? I'm going to paste this thing again. Paste. And put it over here, make it a little smaller. I think that's kind of coolish. Put it in there nicely so it fits within all of the pieces. That's cool. And I'm going to also duplicate that and flip it the other way. There we go, and bring it down and make sure it fits all within my shapes. So there. Okay. Now what? What time is it? 10:30. All right, guys. Hey, let's have a little break for a sec. Just a little break, and I'm gonna go grab, I don't know, something, and I'll be right back.
All right, guys, I'm back. So, hey, are you with me?
Yeah.
You kind of following how I design this stuff a little bit, and I'll tell you the thinking behind these quote unquote random lines. Okay, so I try to make the design as logical as possible so I can figure it out rather than just doing random stuff. So this is a car inspired thing, right? And so that's why this is where a wheel would go, this is where a wheel would go. And that's why I am putting in, these things, just taking my things, maybe too literally, I don't know, but that's what these things are meant to be, wheels. Then I went, this is the motor, the cylinders in the motor. So there's logic behind that. This originally started off to be exhaust manifold coming out of the motor, but then it transformed. But anyway, it's fine. The influence is there. All this area was meant to be like the transmission. So I'm really, really taking things literally, but I'm, kind of in a rush to do it quick. And then this is the drive thing. This is the transaxle at the end where it connects the tires, the wheels. And this was admittedly random, just like, well, I got to figure something out for that back piece. And that is a random thing. But what I was trying to do was follow these lines. So it's kind of like spraying out. So it's like the form has purpose. Okay, well, now I can really start randomizing around. So because I've already got my core in there and my core basic shapes. So now I think I will start to like do some random stuff. And here's a nice little tool that I'm going to use, and I hope it works because shoes are not symmetrical, but I'm going to use the symmetry tool because I want to do some lines in here, something like this, like a rising sun or something. So I'm going to go to this tool, and it's in Canvas, and it's Drawing Guide and Edit Drawing Guide. And what I want is down here, symmetry. I want symmetry, but I want symmetry going the other way. So how do I flip that? Hold on, symmetry, perspective, asymmetric. Let's see what options are. Vertical, horizontal. There we go. And then here's the line that I'm gonna choose to go symmetrical. In fact, it might be a little bit, not exactly. So there's that, done. And so now I hope, okay, good, it works. So now I'm just gonna put in I'll put in this one first. And then I do the extreme ones first. The 3, and then use logic behind it, and just halfway in between is there, halfway between here is there, and start doing it like that. And then I'll just fill in the rest. There. And so it's all nicely spaced. So, having some logic behind this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I need 1 in here. So let's just erase those little things I just did. Because I have to count. I have to count this stuff. Back up. All right, I'll go here. Back, and then here. Okay, so that's that one. And I might as well do that same type of philosophy here. There. So that one's that one, and this one's this one. Halfway in between there. Halfway between that one's there. So let's just put those in there. And might as well do the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's sketched in. So it's just all sketchy right now, but at least I'm getting some forms in there. New layer, because I need to do something inside here. And I don't know what yet, but maybe something like that. Remember, holding down the pen allows you to make it nice and accurate. So let's just go in there one more time. there and here. And here I'm just going to start putting in lots of little ones. And this is suggestive of the tire tread. So I'm just maybe a little bit too extreme on my literalness, but that's how it worked. Okay, there's that tire, and then this is tire treads going around here. So just, you know, loosen, just sketch out your lines and the just like this, just loose, and then you can flesh it out later. So that's that wheel, and then here, do the same here. And this is just a sketch, so it's meant to be kind of fast. And if I wanted to get hardcore and start going into like really photorealistic type stuff, then I would take it into Illustrator. But right now, just for sketching purposes, we're going to take it easy. And just be as free and free-flowing as possible. I'll leave those. Okay, there we go. Now, all my white lines, let's start cleaning this sucker up. So I'm gonna merge all of this stuff, all of these white lines, which is this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Those are my white lines, and so I'm gonna group them. And then by clicking on that group, you can merge, flatten them. So there's all my white lines. Let's see what other white lines are in there as well. So let's move this over here. That's my black stuff. Oh, those are more white lines. I think I'm going to put that up here as well. I'm going to move that. I'm going to merge this one. Go and move it. There we go. Crank it up full blast. Oh, it is full blast. Okay. What other lines? That's my first sketches right here. And this you don't even see, so I don't even need that. I just might as well delete it. Sometimes you can be a layer hog, but sometimes layer hogging is not smart because it gets super confusing. So, okay, there's my circles. There's my, I'm gonna merge that down. Let's just see what this is. Okay, this sucker. I'm gonna cut this out and I'm just trying to be efficient with my layers because I don't want to be too confused. So cut and paste. And I'm gonna merge that into my outsole. Where is that outsole? I think it's right here. Let's just double click. Yep, and click this one. Yep, so that's all cool. I'm gonna merge those two together, so merge down. So I'm just reducing these layers. And finally, what's this guy? Nope, that, this little sucker. I'm gonna merge this one into the outsole as well because it is the front of my outsole. So merge down. Okay, and all my white should be one layer. It is, except for that front piece. So merge this down. Okay, it's just turn on and off. So that's all my white stuff, except for there's that other white stuff right here. Let's merge that in as well. So go up here, merge down. Okay, there. That's all my white stuff. What's this? Hold on, there's some white stuff right in here. I just want to get rid of it. That. I'm gonna erase out. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just gonna erase out this. And then also, where's the other white stuff? So I have this little white thing that's bothering me. Oh, there it is. It's on there. And erase that out too. Okay. Okay, a little bit of fine tuning. And I notice I have a cool little feature that I didn't even know about, which I'm going to put in. So it's right here. You see this thing right there? I like how that kicks in. So I'm going to kick this one in too. crank it up so not on full blast. So little tiny details like those little kickers and stuff, you know, that stuff goes a long way. There. Okay, and get my circles nice and squared in there. So where are those circles? Right here. And I think that's part of my outsole. So I will merge it with my outsole, but let me, before I do that, circles, grab, move it down so it's nicely in the middle. And I'm going to merge that into my outsole as well. So my whole outsole is one big unit. That's my whole outsole. And now I can start getting into rendering. Let's turn on my sketch and turn the volume way down because I just want to barely see it. Okay, great. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more sketching. So on here, I'm going to go white and start filling in some details in here. So this lines up here. And I guess it'll go all the way back. Let's just turn down the opacity of my brush. Just start getting in these details because I'm going to start rendering in a sec. There's that one, and then this one too. Line it up with this and this. Put that up here, and then bring that down. And I think that's good enough for now. Now let's start getting sketchy. Well, more sketchy. So now I'm going to go full black. I'm going full black on this, full power with my opacity. And I'm going to turn on the smoothing because I'm going to have to get in there. This is going to have to be a little bit accurate. So Studio Pen, yes, and streamlining. I'm going to streamline this so my strokes can be. So what we're doing here is, let's just test it. So I'm just putting in, this is going to be where it's a, hold on, let's just put this in. There. Okay. Next one is, I'm going to make this brush a little bit thinner. Now I'm going to go, these are the grooves that are deep inside. This is how my outsole, this is basically those valleys that are deep inside. There, and I just have to get in there and just, it's a little bit tedious. On the other hand, it's not so bad. There. Just put on some music. Nearly done. Okay. New layer for these guys. Because it's just a repetitive thing. So duplicate, just move that. Duplicate. Okay. Merge all those down. Merge it down. Get in here. Okay. That's the outsole. So let me show you a cool trick. I did all of these black lines right here. I did them all in black, obviously. I'm going to duplicate this layer. Duplicate. And I'm going to adjust the color to like a whitish color. So layer. So are you guys following me? Because this might turn out really cool and it saves you shit tons of time. So there. I've changed that black into, so I got my black one underneath right here. You can see it. And then I've got my white one. I just duplicated that layer and I got it right here. I'm gonna move this underneath the black. Okay, now I'm just gonna shift it a little bit. There. So I've automatically given it just a little bit of 3D impression. Just by, investing that time in doing one layer will save you so much time doing the other layers. This is the point where I need to start putting my sunshine. So I'm gonna do a brand new layer and I'm just gonna put my light source right here as a constant reminder because you have to be consistent with that. Otherwise it goes all weird and pear-shaped. So I've got, oh, but you see, there's a mistake. I mean, sometimes that's a bad thing about Procreate is, or just iPad is, each time you're using your fingers to adjust everything, get these little lines, and you just have to go in there and clear them off. Okay, there, and then the layer underneath with this white stuff. Get rid of all that. Okay, but you can see it's starting to get a little bit 3D, and now we're going to do the other side. So the sun is up here, and it's so you can start to see how it's starting to look three-dimensionally. So I'm going to duplicate this black layer and duplicate it. And the one underneath, I'm going to turn down its opacity about halfway, and then start shifting this. So there, shift it over a little bit to the left and turn it down a little bit more. There we go. So now it's kind of got a little bit even more 3D now. So that's the outsole. I haven't even started. Let's just do a wash of color on this. Let's just do a wash of up here, so I can start getting the basic. I'm going to do some big airbrush so I can get some basic shading because it looks very flat right now. So increase the size. So in here, let's just make it bigger. So now with this big airbrush, I can just start putting in, just gently shading off the areas where it's going to be a little bit on the shadow side. Okay, so now it's starting to get some 3D shape, and I think I'm going to do the next layer on top, and I'm going to go white. White, same big airbrush. I'll go big up here because that's going to be kind of a hot spot. My toe curls up a little bit, just a little bit. So let's give that a little bit. This whole side's going to have a little bit of shading, and then a little bit of darkness in here, lightness, sorry, and a little bit of darkness now. Just a little bit in here because this is the shank and it's always dark. Okay, starting to come together for a sketch. I mean, there's certain areas that I'm not totally happy with, but I just don't have time to actually fix it. But like, for example, here, I don't like how it's asymmetrical. This thing and this thing, that's not cool for me. So I would modify this. I'd modify this out, something like this, and make it so it is more symmetrical. But I'm not doing that now because I just don't have time. So let's undo all that. So there's basically my sole. Let's just put in some details in that midsole right in here. I have all these lines, but before I do that, I think I'm just going to get sketchy because honestly the time is running really short. So I'm going to just quickly sketch on top of this side view, black and white all the way, turn down the opacity. Now I'm going to start getting in here and start putting in some highlights. So right in here, this is going to be a highlight, and it goes all the way down. And I think I'm going to just use a big fat airbrush, but a thin one like that, and turn it really down. See what I can do. Oop, not. I need a little bit of a hard edge one here. Let's try this. A bit bigger. Here, bigger. So there. And we're also going to do the same. I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm just going to go over everything. So to avoid messy rendering, I'm just doing one stroke. See, I'm just trying to do one stroke, choose the right brush, and that's going to avoid all that messy kind of rendering stuff. Okay, there, and little highlights where the sun's really going to be reflecting, like in here and in here. Okay, I'm going to get in there with my same old brush studio, and all I'm really trying to do here is just show you how to control your renderings so they don't turn into a big messy blob of airbrush. You don't want to use that airbrush too much. So there's that side, and now this side. Let's put in some highlights in here. Wherever there's a leading edge is where it's going to highlight. And when I say leading edge, a leading edge is anything like, I'm going to show you on my video camera. Okay, remote control. So here's remote control, right? And you see these little, well, firstly, let's just look. Okay, you see there's a line here. There's some white reflection lines there. That's because it's an edge. It's an edge. Edges catch lines. Let's try something else. Here, this thing. So you see on the top right, up here, that is a leading edge. So it's all those leading edges, wherever there's a transition of from one form to the next is where you put highlights. Notice how gently it is gradiented inside here. Sorry, inside here. It's gentle gradient because it's a bowl. It's a bowl shape. And then notice how inside, right in here, right in there, there's a hole for my pen, my Cintiq pen to go in. And look, that's another leading edge right in there. And that's just because it transitions from the bowl shape into a hole, basically. So everything has leading edges, everything. And that's where you really want to put the highlights. That's why I was saying on the, like where your leather lays on top of another layer, that's a leading edge because that's going to leave a reflection. So, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm wherever there's a transition of form, that is a leading edge. So there. In fact, I'll just shade this in with the pen manually instead of getting all airbrushy, because this is also a neat way to render without, like, you know, having this horrible, nasty airbrush mess that a lot of students make until they get a little bit more experienced. But it's definitely they do it a lot. And I'm not surprised because you just don't know. I started doing that as well. You should see some of my first ones. I was totally doing that. But then I learned how to do it correctly. So there, leading edges. Give it a nice little highlight. And then just gonna be leading edge down here. And I'll just pop that off a little bit more. Okay, and also the same with this side. Because the rubber is overlapping. It's overlapping the midsole. So that's why I have this extra line. You know, if you only have one line, there should be probably 3 in there. So that stuff matters. All right, that's kind of getting rendered up. Let's just get this top piece. So you know how I like to make it round. Just as a reminder, to make it look round, I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to get the airbrush, big old fatty airbrush, right here, and white right in here because that's where my sunlight's coming from on this side. A little bit of a highlight here, maybe a little highlight here, and then I'm going to go black and there. That instantly makes it look round, instantly. Okay. Now what? Let's start adding. I'm going to go back to my sketch and keep sketching on top with this simple studio pen. I'm just going to be cross-hatching and all that kind of stuff because it's going to be a little bit faster. It's going to be looking sketchy as well, but before class ends. There, another one over here. And then here, because I put in a highlight here. back here as well. There's a little transition here. And I'll say this is all going to be pretty white. And up here too. Fade that off. Also. Okay. What are we? 11. This class ends at what? 11:15 or 11:30? I think I'm gonna start merging. Hey, what time? This. Here, I'll look it up. It's 11:15. Hey, can you tell me? You know? Anyone listening to me?
I'm pretty sure it's 15. I can't remember for sure.
I think so too. It's 11:15. Pretty sure it is. Where are you? Nope. Fashion accessories. Yeah, 11:15. Okay. All right then, class. So you know what your homework is. Do some sole. Definitely do a bottom, and do a side view minimum, as well as thumbnails. And so make it 5 pages, and put in annotations. I didn't have time to put in annotations, but put in annotations. EVA, whatever, rubber. Put in annotations. Line up all your stuff. And I'm sorry I didn't have time to finish everything, but hey, limited. And ultimately, this drawing would take me, at the end of the day, if I were to work on this hardcore, I think I could do this in 4 hours. Because I only spent it, I don't know how long I spent on this, not long, but I think this should be doable in 4 hours. But maybe not. Maybe less, maybe more. So, all right then, class. That's what I finally got to at some point. All right then. Have a great weekend. Best of luck to everyone on everything, whatever that is, but just hope everyone's happy. All right, guys. Have a great one.
Bye.
Yep. Yeah, you too, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, Brook,
Yes.
what is that thing you're wearing called?
An artist's glove.
Artist glove? Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. And I bought, by the way, be careful, because I bought one. I thought it was one. It comes in a pack like this. It comes in a pack. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna buy 2. I'm gonna buy 2 gloves. But inside the pack, there was like a set of 3 already in there. By the way, this is, I don't know, these were cheap. These were the cheapest ones I could find, that brand. You can't read it because it's backwards. But cheapest brand, it was like $6. And surprise, I ordered 2 of them, so now I have 6 of these things. So.
Oh, I see.
But they're quite fun to work with when you're working on iPad, so your iPad doesn't get too dirty, because that's gets annoying.
Yeah, mine gets dirty all the time.
Yeah. All right then, Anthony. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Yep.
You too.
Thank you.